Do you want to sleep feeling safe and secure tonight? Well, I'm going to show you how to do that with 3D printing. Let's jump into it. Welcome to this episode of DIY3DTech.com. In this episode of Design Talk, I'm going to show you how I designed these brackets for this Ring security system. So my grandson bought his first house this year, and for Christmas we got him the Ring security system. And we went to install it, but we ran into a couple challenges. One of the challenges was that it's an older home, so it has the larger door frames depth-wise, and the newer doors that were put in are recessed back in. So in other words, you can't set this sender or sensor and magnet flush together like this, because if you put this on the top, this is set way back inside the door. So he gave me a call up, said, how do we fix this? And I said, 3D printing. So I went over there, I took some measurements, and I did a lot of design work over here. So because I had to design up a couple different options for mounting this. And I'll put all this out on Thingiverse. I designed this in Fusion 360. I made this a bit parametric. It should work with basically the Ring as far as the size of these. The depth on this piece, which I'll talk about in a minute, is parametric, so you can just load it into Fusion. You can change that number, and boom, Bob's your uncle. It'll come out to your size. So the idea is I designed up a mount that would mount on the door and then kick it out far enough so once we mounted whatever on the outside, we could line this up. So kind of long story short, is the Ring sensor unit sits inside here, and there's a little lip on it, and it's double-sided tape, and it sits down in here. And then what we do is we have two various mounting brackets. This one is for a flush mount, and this one is for standard like 2.5-inch molding. So it loops on the top. Now I'll cover this in a minute, but the magnet itself sits in the similar gap here. And again, this will mount on top of the door frame on the outside. If I can hold this all together and kind of hold it up here, you can kind of see how this works. So this kicks it out. Now, one of the pieces that I did when I designed this is I made it kind of multimodal in mounting. So I'm going to use two-sided carpet tape to mount it, but I also designed in holes here for screws. Now the other piece you might have noticed, I've also made it so you can pass the screwdriver through here to get in here, and then double side stick your actual sensor on here. Now since on the front and back door are two different offsets, again that's why I had to make it parametric. So this one is for the back door if I get the lint off of it, or filament, and this one's for the front door, which is inward more. Now, the front door has straight face molding because it's the older house molding, which is really just a bunch of 1x. So did a very similar thing here is I'll use two-sided carpet tape on the back. Also allowed options for screws, and I made this oblong so you can move this up and down. And I did similar on this side. Now, the back door has 2.5-inch, cosmetic molding on it. So what I designed is this will sit on top. We'll put a little carpet tape on here. This will hold it in place. Sensor will go in this bottom part and come down to meet the, or not sensor, the magnet will come down here to meet the other piece. So this should work out actually pretty good. I'm pretty excited about how all this turned out. Now again, I'll throw the files out on Thingiverse. I also have links to Amazon for the Ring alarm system. I think for the money, it's a pretty interesting little system. And again, one of the big things I want to do is inspire you guys with various ideas about how to fix real-world problems, and that's what the Design Talk series is about. And I think here is one of those really good examples, because again, I also printed this in a clear PLA. His doors are white. I thought about using a white. It probably can come out one half dozen the other. It's sort of white in color, so it matches. It doesn't really stand out and say, hey, look at, I got this big thing sticking out. Also, if you look at the design here, this is something else you have to take into account. I thought about just making sort of a U-shape with a flat bottom, but one of the things is I was afraid vibration on this side would give a false alarm. So again, I put this little mount in here, and then I actually differenced out, a bit of the center here in order to just reduce the plastic but make it rigid enough. And then, as I've already mentioned, I designed pass-throughs so you could reach in there with a screwdriver so you don't have to come in at an angle. That's just a pain. So I really wanted to think through the different mounting functionalities of this. You know, the other piece is also in making it parametric. I knew I had to do 2 doors, so I didn't want to do 2 different designs. And so making it parametric saved me a lot of work there. Also, I wanted to kind of bump it out. Originally, I had carried the rounded out further. In the CAD software, that looked good. I did not like how it looked once it came out in real life. So I took out the circle. So it's a little bit of an iterative process, and that's okay. But it's just really kind of cool, the functional things that you can actually create with 3D printing, which can affect your everyday life. Which, this is the cool thing I think about 3D printing, is combining the ability to design something with the ability to manufacture it in near real time. So anyways, hopefully you found this interesting, inspiring. Swag Shop's going to be up there. Please give it a big thumbs up, and also don't forget, subscribe button's going to be over there. I put out regular content like this. Also, if you have any comments, suggestions, I always love hearing from you down below. And we'll see you in the next video where we design something else cool. Cheers.
Please click like below and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date on all